Hello, Malik Currington here, and welcome to another edition of the Family Budget Fisherman. This is going to be a very interesting show. I'm going to try to make this kind of not as long, but it's going to be very interesting and detailed for a good number of reasons. Number one, because I keep telling you in videos in the past that the industry is changing. They're modifying themselves because they need to continually sell us bait, tackle, rods, reels, boats, accessories, etc. And what I'm sharing with you is another iteration of that economic endeavor of theirs. Before I go into that, I have to take the time to tell you all thank you for those of you who kept telling me and my wife, congratulations on another anniversary of ours. Normally what we would do is we would take the week before our anniversary and enjoy it up through our anniversary. But because of our current, health situation, we had to do it afterward. And so we went on and did that for the first time in over a year. Over a year, we actually sat down in a restaurant. Believe that. And that was something that we did quite regularly, she and I. And it was just kind of amazing to be able to do that in the time that we've had. Also, I want to thank those of you who are supporting the channel. Those of you who have subscribed, you've hit the like button, you've shared this information. You are coming from all over the world. I expected for you to just be local and maybe regional, and in some cases, continental. But I'm hearing from you from Italy, from Germany, from Poland, from Nigeria. I'm hearing from you from all over the world, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. I greet you all the same, whether you are here locally with me in Reading or all the way across, like I said, in Germany, Italy, and Nigeria. I thank all of you and every point in between. You East Coast folks are fantastic. Those of you who are in the middle of California, fantastic. Thank you for doing what you are doing to support the channel. I ask those of you who've yet to do so to please do so. Hit that like button every time you get a chance to watch a video so we can deal with this YouTube algorithm. Seems like that algorithm is getting more political than it is economic. Please do that. Watch the video, as much of it as you can. Please subscribe to the channel. Share the video when you have an opportunity. And continually look forward to the information that will be coming from this channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough for what you are doing to get this information out. There is an individual who says, I have no idea. He likes the channel. I don't know. He likes the channel, and he just says, I don't understand why the channel hasn't gone viral. I don't know either. All I know is it has grown by you and those whom you share this with. And I appreciate the effort that you're putting in to help this channel grow. Will it go viral? Someday it will. I look forward to that day. But boy, is it fun now being with those of you who are there. So keep the questions coming. Keep the comments coming. Help me to fix some of the errors. I made a mistake on the Daiwa reel, the Daiwa rod review. During the course of me saying the length of the rod, I did say the length of the rod correct once, and then I said it incorrectly the second time. And I want to thank the individual who pointed that out. It happens. You do this many. I have a part of I pastor a church online, and we have over 80 videos over there. And I tell you, sometimes mistakes happen. So I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing. We're talking here about BFS style of fishing, as it were. And the phrase, the acronym BFS means Bait Finesse System. It is part of an overall economic umbrella called JDM, which stands for Japanese Domestic, and I'm going to add in brackets, fishing tackle, and then the M for market. And because that's what we're focusing on, not the Japanese market in general, but the fishing tackle market. And what has happened is apparently, and I'm hearing this from different quarters over with this concept here. Apparently, what has happened is over the last maybe 10 or 15 years or so, Japanese people who fish have been wanting to use bait cast equipment for finesse fishing, and they've done the best they could, but they have been going toward spinning gear. And now this is me saying this piece right here. One of my arguments is that more money can be made with selling a bait cast reel than a spinning reel. I mean, there's so much technology. For example, the DC reels, for example, Shimano's DC reels actually have a chip in them. Well, I don't know of very many spinning reels that you could put a chip in. There may be some out there, but I'm just not aware of it, that you could sell in mass quantities. Just another way to sell us equipment. Is it great? Yes, but it is another way. Well, at any rate, this BFS style of fishing is a way to situate bait casting equipment in the ultralight category so that the kind of lures like this 1/8 ounce spinner bait called a crappie max, this 1/16 ounce spinner bait, you see, this spook, 1 1/4 inches in length. Baits like this can be thrown. This square bill, 1 inch in length, as an extreme shallow diver, or this tiny jerk bait right here. You see, on traditional bait casting equipment, you can't throw a spoon this thin. On traditional 10-pound or more test with a 7.66, 7.6 to 1 and greater. Look at that jerk bait there. Medium heavy or heavy rod, you can't throw it. Most of you have, those of you who throw bait casts, here's an inline 16th ounce inline spinner used for trout. Most of you who want to throw bait like this, another inline spinner, have to revert to spinning gear. And apparently in the Japanese market, they don't like it. Those of them who like bait cast models all up and down. They would prefer it. This is a 1/8 ounce hair jig here. And then even for those of you who are familiar with power bait, here's some trout worms right here. And they have different styles of trout worms. Here's another style right here. And these you tear off and you hook them up drop shot style for the most part. And they're good trout bait. So if I tore this piece off, just imagine me tearing that piece off right there and doing that. And it catches crappie. Catches trout. Does catch some crappie, but it's a trout bait. Well, because in the Japanese domestic fishing tackle market, they want to go after perch, both inshore and freshwater. They want to go after trout. We're talking about smaller rainbows. We're not talking about trophy size, lake trout and so forth. They need the kind of equipment to do that. And that end of the market needs to be accommodated. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because it has a big impact on some of the forward operations of a lot of these companies in terms of what they're offering and what will be available even for bass fishing. Here's the deal. I want you at this moment to imagine that you are a corporation selling bass equipment, and traditionally you have been selling deep diving crankbaits, 1/2 ounce and 3 ounce spinner baits. You've been selling 7-inch worms and 5-aught hooks and swim baits that are bigger than most of the trout you might catch in the ultralight. And I mean, I'm talking about those 12 and 15-inch puppies that you can only catch the fish of a lifetime. There's no way that you're going to catch anything less than a fish of a lifetime on those baits. I'm talking about the big pencil poppers and I'm a big sticks. Imagine you are that company which sells all of those type of big bait items, and then you run into 2020 where there is a saturation of fishermen on lakes. And if you're like me, your lake is saturated. There is an impact on your lake that is just second to none. And I mean, all your honey holes are just fished out. And then the weather. Here in California, I don't care what we've been doing, we don't get rain like we should. And when we do, California has not been the best in managing the amount of rain that comes. I mean, 2017 was a terrible time for rain in this state. And I mean, we got so much rain, every lake in the country was filled to capacity, and our state did not figure out what to do to manage that water over time. Now we are in drought situations, which is typical for us. And then you add to that the 2020 pressure on the lakes, not just the tournaments, but it was the one thing that people could do during the pandemic. And here you go. If you're the company faced with that economic situation, you may sell more rods and reels, but now you're developing pressure. Now there has been a development of pressure on the lake, not because of you, the company, but because it was an outlet for people. And that pressure is now causing situations where fish have memory. If you have, for example, up here where I live in Redding, Shasta Lake, our lake is going to have, according to one of my good friends and a subscriber to this channel, thank you, shout out to you for talking to me about it this past weekend. There is a tournament on Lake Shasta every week going back to the middle of December 2020 all the way through August of 2021. Every week there's going to be a tournament. And it's a big lake. It's actually the biggest lake in the state. However, with that kind of fishing pressure, enough fish are going to be caught every week where the dynamics of fishing has to change. BFS fishing, for those of you who don't want to go into the spinning category or want to reduce the amount of spinning gear you have, BFS fishing might be for you. It might be an opportunity for you to go into that endeavor. Remember, it's all personal. You know, know this, that, and I'm going to make this abrupt change because there is an argument that imagines that bait casting equipment is better when it comes to, say, casting distance, when it comes to the numbers of casts per opportunity toward a target. Now, in times past, that was the case because for many people, they didn't practice. I'll say, for example, with me, I doubt, with the equipment that I have and have had, I doubt that there's very many bait casting people who primarily use bait casting equipment who can hit a target as many times as I am able. I'm a two-handed fisherman, and one day I'll be able to explain that to you. And I can hit a target within 2 feet no matter where I am. If I imagine where that bait is going to be, it's going to be within 2 feet of that target. And I usually can get it within 10 inches of a target. So I'm just saying that. Now, 2 feet may sound like, oh, wow, that's still a big difference. Well, if you can throw a bait 30 yards and be within 2 feet, you're doing pretty good. On a regular basis, you're doing pretty good. If you can get it within a foot, you're at excellent category. And there are not very many people who can do that. And I'm talking about not with a 3/4 ounce or a ½ ounce. I'm talking about with a 1/8 ounce. I'm talking about with a 3/16 ounce. Let's just be clear on what we're talking about here. What I'm saying, though, that was right in the past. That is not necessarily the case now because of innovations in technology. And here are those innovations. Number one, we have shallow water anchoring systems where you have, say, the talon and the power pole. Being able to stop a boat and cast as many times as you want to a target of your choice eliminates the need to be able to have to fish a target very quickly in a certain amount of time. Remember, we're not all tournament fishermen. We got all day to hit a spot, okay, if we choose to. Our time is determined by other things, not by tournament rules. Another is the GPS anchoring system. That GPS anchoring system, spot lock, for example, allows me to be able to be in deep water and do the same thing. Now, to any one of those anchoring systems, when you add to it live scope and live target, so Garmin's live scope and Lowrance's live target, and then whatever else Humminbird is going to add back down in May, it changes the game. We're not talking anymore about how many times I can cast and retrieve into a target. We're talking right now about what? Presentation and how, the extended presentation into a strike zone. How long can I keep that bait in that strike zone? If I can see the fish and I can see the fish moving toward my bait, me being able to cast and retrieve quickly and get it back out there is not it. It's me now being able to cast and be able to adjust because I can see on my graph, I can watch the fish come toward in a lateral, not in 2D where it looks up and down. I'm talking about in a lateral because with forward-facing sonar, there is an opportunity for me to be able to see a fish in front of me, cast to that fish, and how long can I keep it within that fish's strike zone till that fish bites. There are those of you who can do that very well with bait casting equipment and not as well with spinning gear. BFS might be for you. I'm just throwing that out there. Remember, this channel is not about simply the promotion of spinning gear as a preeminent fishing combo. This is about you being able to get the equipment of your choice at the best price. You negotiate. And it doesn't matter with who or matter with what. I can run this channel the same way if I'm all bait casting, primarily because, why? Because it's about purchasing equipment. And there is a lot of equipment out there to be had. There are companies who've gotten into this BFS style of fishing. Shimano has gotten knee deep into it. Mega Bass has gotten into it. Lucky Craft has gotten into it. And even Cast King, which is one of our Americans. And you can go and get a specifically named bait cast reel by Cast King. They have it. It's called, got a note down here, the Zephyr Bait Finesse Casting Reel for $70. And then if you want to go to the upper end, you got the Daiwa Steez bait cast, the very light bait cast reel for I think it's like $600. You got the Shimano Aldebaran, the 50 MGL for $420. I mean, you can imagine what you have. What you're looking for, however, is the lightest reel that you could purchase at the price of your affordability, using all the techniques that we've discussed here on this channel in order to get a rod and reel combo that can throw these tiny little baits. Huh? Because that's what we're looking for, these tiny little baits. That's what we're looking for. So I hope that I've shared something with you that sparks your imagination in understanding two things. Number one, the industry wants to sell you equipment, and they have to continue to iterate different ways to sell equipment. That's the primary motivation of this. And that we need to be aware that it will impact our budget if we allow ourselves to lose control. Number two, that it gives us an opportunity to plan and strategize on how these next situations in sell opportunities that are going to come. Pixie Fund, I think is what it's called, PICIFUN, has a great deal on rods and reels right now. Six Gill Fishing did have, I don't know if they still have, they were having trouble because of the floods and because of the snow down in Texas. They had to close their plant down for a little while, but they actually had a, a buy one, get one free rod and reel combination. They had a buy one, get one free rod and reel combination going on. And there are a lot of deals that are out there. Take your time and look for them. The only thing I will tell you is understand your own budget and look for the highest quality rod. And maybe I ought to do a video talking about rod quality versus price of rods so that we'll understand what's going on and what it is that they're trying to sell us. Know that so that you get the best quality fishing equipment that you can, in this case, bait casting equipment, for the least expensive price that you are willing to purchase it for. And I hope that I've shared something with you that moves you in that endeavor. Remember, don't do anything to hurt your family's budget and blow it up in all disproportionate ways just to get this equipment, but do everything you can to break your personal best. I'll see you next time. Take care.